I think there's a big difference between the person up here and the person sitting in the chair. And so I just want to kind of remind you guys that there's not. So I'm going to kind of rewind because my story is a little different and it's not a super big weight loss story, but some of you have heard bits and pieces of it. But 4 years ago, I was in a really bad place in my life. My marriage, honestly, sucked. I was newly married and I lived with a lot of sadness because I was broken. You know, my husband preferred to party over his wife. So I spent a lot of nights up crying and scared and wondering, like, is it gonna be the police that knocks on my door? Or when he comes home, you know, it's like you want him to come home, but then when he comes home, what's gonna happen? And you know, he spends a lot of nights, weeks, months, caring not about who he hurt or what he peed on. I was just in a really bad place, and I'm a Christian. I grew up in church, and one thing negative to me about the church is a lot of Christians act like they don't have problems. And so what happened is all of a sudden I had a problem. So now I felt really guilty because I'm not supposed to have problems because nobody else in my church does. So now I have to hide that I have a problem. But then I feel guilty that I even have the problem. So I'm just a big solid mess. And like I said, I'm not sleeping. I'm up all night worrying. I take showers just so I can cry and nobody knows. And I got to this horrible place. And it was really a mental struggle for me because I was so mad at myself. Like, how did I get here? What did I do wrong? How can I get out? And why did this happen? I was supposed to have this great life, and I swear I'm a good person. And I was beat down. And I started doing Beachbody programs. I had completed P90X and Chalene Extreme, and then I found Insanity. And I don't know if you guys have ever done Insanity, but if you're broken in life and then you try to do that workout, I'm like, dang. Like I was already, I thought, beat down to the ground, and now I'm like under the floor. And but the thing was, it was like my life had spun so far out of my control, and I'm also a control freak and a perfectionist, so that also doesn't go well with me, that I had this workout, and I was like, this is not gonna beat me. Like, I don't care what I gotta do. This is the one thing I'm gonna prove to myself that like I can do. So if all of this falls apart, I've got this. Well, then I started month 2, and I was like, maybe I don't have this. And then I was beating myself up more, like, come on, Jessica, like, you're a champion, what the heck? And it was bad. I was waiting tables full time, and I had been waiting tables for years. And where I worked, our back dock that we had to go up was a huge flight of steps. I have to go up the steps sideways. I'm wearing 2 knee braces because I'm just gonna finish this program. And I remember everybody at my job thought like I had an issue, like a problem, which I probably did, but I messaged my coach, which I didn't know what a coach was. I just knew this lady would randomly message me. And like I told you guys before, it could have been a big hairy man on the other end. I didn't know, it was just online relationship. But she seemed to help me in the past, so I just let her know, I have to finish this program. And like, she didn't know why I had to finish this program, but I had to finish this program for me. It wasn't about losing weight, it wasn't about being a supreme athlete, I just had to finish this program. And so I'm literally hanging on to whatever she says, and I don't even know this woman, but I'm like, whatever she says, it's gonna make me finish this program, I'm gonna do. And then she says 3 words that I will never forget. She says, drink a shake. And I'm like, drink a shake? Like, I've been waiting on this, you know, epiphany moment to get me through my life, and she says, drink a shake. So I'm so ticked off. I'm like, God, I don't want to be a shake person. And, but I was desperate, and so I said, you know what? I can drink the whole bag and return it, I'll drink a shake. And that day, you know, looking back, seemed so insignificant in my life. And that moment and that decision to drink a shake when I didn't want to drink a shake and complete a workout just to prove to myself that I still had value, literally has transformed my entire life. So from there, I drank the shake and I started feeling better. I actually became a coach because she told me if I kept it, I would probably want it cheaper, which she was 100% right. And I started working on myself because when I finished that program, like I said, all of a sudden my confidence grew a little, you know, and I kind of had that glimmer back in my eye. And I realized that, you know what, I can't control everything around me. I can't control the people. I can't control the coaches on my team that sign up and are gung-ho, and then guess what? Next week they don't talk to me anymore. And I want this so bad for them. Or your challengers. I mean, how many of you guys have challengers that end up crickets? And you're like, dang, you know, like you're like dependent on this and you're gone. I can't control that, but what I can control is me. And I can show up and I can do my part and I can focus on being better than I was yesterday and hoping that I can inspire someone along the way and teach them the same. And because of that, it's been 4 years. I've been a full-time coach for 2 years. And I would do this for free, though. I know people say that, but it's like when you grasp on to the truly life-changing benefits that we have here, I mean, I wouldn't even be sitting there, honestly, because my life was done. I was in a mental mess. But because I decided, you know what, I can do this, I'm gonna do this. Like he said, Sean T obviously played a huge part. He didn't realize he was like my absolute best friend ever. You have seen me on Facebook. I carried him around on a popsicle stick for at least 3.5 years. And he knows this now, and he likes to make fun of me about it. You know, the day he came into my house was a life-changing day for me. So I just want to encourage you guys, which I say all the time, that if you aren't there yet, get there, and if you are, share it. It's like, yes, this is like an MLM. I know some people in MLMs, and I'm like, we are different. We have a mission and a passion and an ability to transform every aspect of people's lives. So I am honored. I am happy and proud to say I'm a coach. And if anybody in here is not a coach, you should be. But so like Peter said, this past year, just one more crazy thing, so maybe just keep going. So over the years, you know, like I said, I've grown, I've changed, and I made a white wall in my house. It's one of those, what do you call it when you can draw on it? Dry erase wall. And so I put like inspiring quotes and my goals on there. And I remember my second year as a coach, I put like a crazy income goal. And literally, I like pulled out the sky and I was like, well, just write it on here because people say like if you write stuff down. And literally, I was just like, this ain't gonna work, but they said write it down. I'm like, let's get crazy. And I went $5,000 over that. So I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, I gotta write a bigger number. So I would just write like my top 5 goals for the year on this wall. And literally, they were like crazy things. And every time I wrote them, I was like, this is crazy, but I'm just gonna write it because they say it works. And when people come over, I was like, go erase it. There's some crazy stuff up there. And literally, last year, I think it was or maybe it was this year. Anyways, I wrote, be in a video with Sean T. And in my head, I'm thinking like, I carry this dude around on a popsicle stick, like he doesn't really know me, but people think like we're best friends because I act like we are. And he really doesn't know me. I have blogs about me and Sean T and what we do together and stuff like that. I'm not kidding. So when I write this on the wall, I'm like, this is a fun one. And then I would make videos for YouTube, and I would always have to erase it before I did the video because same thing. I'm like, what if somebody sees what that says? It was actually last year because I remember when T25 came out, I just did a preview because elite coaches get 1 disc. And so I videoed it, and I remember I needed to erase it because it was a Sean T video, and I really didn't want anybody to see it. Well, crazy enough, like Peter said, this year I was in a Sean T video. And not that I don't enjoy being up here actually, or being in a spotlight, so it was actually very out of my comfort zone, but I didn't care, so Sean T. And so I just want to, hopefully someone can take something from this to know that you can dream big, that you can actually achieve it, and no matter where you are, we always have room to grow. Like I might be a 7-star diamond, but that honestly, it doesn't define me. What matters is that I show up each day and I still strive to be better than I was yesterday. And so hopefully you guys take something from that. Yeah.